Hurricane have weathered the storm and are doing okay. Again, yesterday's service talked a lot about just how, our thoughts, hearts, prayers, all that stuff is going with you folks. So today what we're doing is we're taking a look at the idea of looking at the goodness versus the potential in another person. And we're looking at it through this lens of this beautiful story, and it's a story of Abraham, ancient patriarch, and it's a time where he meets God. He's waiting at his tent, and three strangers show up. It turns out these three strangers eventually are God, and there's lots of ways you can look at that. You could look at different aspects of God. You could look at that as God in totality. You could look at that as seeing God in other people, and there's lots of great biblical lines about seeing God in other people that are just really powerful. And that I think about the closing scene to Les Mis. If those of you who've seen that Broadway show know what I mean. And to see another person is to see the face of God is the line there, and there's just this beauty to it, right? And this raising up, it says that Abraham raised up his eyes. In other words, there's this change of perspective, and then he races out to see these people and embrace them. And then he had actually turned this probably into 2 or 3 different 10 minutes of calm, but we're going to do it all in one here. It says, Abraham bowed down toward the earth, which means an outward effect of humility inspired by joy. And that idea of we lift up our eyes, we see other people, especially when we're in a stuck place, we work at really seeing other people. And then there's this movement, it's not just about sitting there waiting for them to come to us. Once we see God on the horizon, once we see other people, we're to move out there. And that what we're to discover out there, it's a beautiful, beautiful line, is this humility inspired by joy. This humility inspired by joy. We're just happy to see people. We're happy to connect with people. And there's a certain humility out there. We're not coming at it with an agenda, with our own program, with our own this, with our own that, etc. And part of letting go of our own program per se, our own agenda, and just practicing this humility that's inspired by joy is this idea that we're to look for the goodness in other people, not always just the potential. Now, can we look for the potential in somebody? Absolutely. And I think back to my time as a swim team coach up in the Pocono Mountains. I remember numerous times, a kid would get in the pool and they just obviously had talent. And, I could instantly see the potential for them to do really, really well down the road. And that was super fun to do and super fun to be part of that process. So I was looking at that potential, and that was good, right? But that potential was based on my agenda, and it was based on my agenda for them. It was my agenda as a swim team coach, based on my agenda for them, that they find in swimming a great sport and that they be successful and help our team and all this, that, and the other thing. Like it was my particular feeling around potential. And that doesn't mean not to see potential in people. I mean, all of us here could go through and list somebody who saw potential in us, and it literally may have been life-saving that person saw it, or life-giving, or life-altering, pick your words there. So I never want to be disparaging about that. That would be totally wrong. But it's just to say, it's good. It's good to see potential. It's even better to see the innate goodness in other people. Because goodness lies upstream of potential. Here's our potential down here to do a certain thing, to be a great teacher, great singer, great baseball player, whatever. And yet the goodness is much further upstream, and it's sort of the headwaters of it all. And that's where we have to reach upstream to really see that, and to really see that deep goodness. Because if we're left just looking at somebody's potential, it can at times, that humility we just talked about. It's not necessarily a humble place for us to be. It wasn't a humble place for me to be in as a coach. It was like, I can help you do these things. And it was my agenda. And hopefully it was theirs. A number of times it was their agenda, and probably one of the most naturally gifted swimmers I ever saw. The kid was just outrageously fast, and really didn't know how to swim. He just his body had figured it out. He never actually ended up swimming. So my idea of the potential for him versus what he really wanted to do, two very different things. And so it was a good lesson for me on a different kind of humility. But the humility just of like really seeing the goodness in another person, that should humble us, and it should be a humility inspired by joy, as the passage says there, where we really just see the goodness. And it just humbles us. There's no more, when it humbles us, it's different than humiliating us. It's humbling us. It's like our agenda just goes. and we just get to enjoy and witness the goodness in another. Really, really enjoying the goodness in another person. That's a beautiful place to hang out, when we just sit in that goodness. Because when we can sit there, when we can really understand someone at that level, there's so much beauty to life at times like that. And you know what? It's just humbling. You know, again, we lift up our eyes. It gets us to move. We're humbled, but it's humbled in this really good way. It's humbled in a way where there's an ability to be in deep friendship and deep fellowship and deep connection with other human beings. Deep, even with our marriages, even with our more intimate relationships, it allows a lot of breath there as well. So friends, like today's a pretty simple one. Is, if you feel called to note somebody's potential and that you see their potential, great, have at it. Enjoy that. And also at the same time, try to go a little bit further upstream, where you really just take time to note their innate goodness. And it doesn't mean you have to say it, like, again, as a swim team coach, it would be a little off-putting for you to go around saying, oh, I just want to say I see the goodness in you. Be careful with that, but just at least note it internally that you can see their goodness. And if there's a chance to talk about their goodness as you see it, if that kind of opportunity arises, obviously do it, because you would do the same for noting somebody's potential to be a particular thing. So friends, there's the thought for today. Please take today and notice the goodness, not just the potential, in other people. A simple takeaway, and one that I think will make the world just a little bit better place, as they say. So with that, dear friends, what we're going to do is we're going to shift gears now. And as we shift gears, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little breath here. We're going to do a prayer bell. We're going to do a little some meditative selections here, and then we'll say hi to folks on Facebook. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. And the bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, just wishing you all the best. And before we sign off here, we're going to take a look over here on Facebook and see if there's any comments we can comment on. And again, people leave comments many times throughout the week, so please feel free to do that. See, here's a comment. Good morning, love this message. I hear seeing through God's eyes, not our own, incidentally. I was a swim coach for nearly 20 years, so your metro echoes in my life. Well, that's good. It was a really fun part of my career, were those years being spent being the swim coach at Pocono Mountain. Matter of fact, some of my old swimmers and students and football players. I coach ninth grade football as well. Tune into this. So if any of you are out there listening, just wanted to note that. Let's see here. Sherry writes, what a beautiful day here. Wishing some better weather for Florida. Totally true. I was even seeing on the East Coast how much rain they were getting this morning. Really quite something else. Melissa, good morning to you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Linda, good morning to you. I'm looking forward to the Sunday group dinner, Linda. That's going to be a lot of fun. So friends, just God bless you. Wishing you all